What's up, everybody? Today we're looking at FreeCodeCamp.org Daily Code Challenge for September 23rd. It's called String Mirror. Given two strings, determine if the second string is a mirror of the first. A string is considered a mirror if it contains the same letters in reverse order. Treat uppercase and lowercase letters as distinct and ignore all non-alphabetical characters. So if we look at our test cases, as we always should, we see that the same string should return false, hello world forward and hello world backward in the same way should return true. We have another true case with race car and an uppercase C. Mirror backwards but with a lowercase m should return false. Hello world here, and it looks like hello world with a dash instead of a space. That should return true because we're ignoring the non-alphabetical characters, the white space and the dash. Same story with the last test case. So then I think the best solution would be to do some replacement with regular expression first on both strings. Now we could reassign the function parameter variable, or we can set up a new variable. And I think setting up a new variable would make the function more clear. So that might be a good practice to get into. I may have done reassignment in previous daily challenges, and starting to think I shouldn't. I'm starting to think this is a better way. So now we want to do a not. We want to replace everything in the string that is not a lowercase a through z or uppercase a through z. And global, make sure it does it on the entire string and not just like the first instance of it. And we want to replace anything that is not lowercase or uppercase a through z with an empty string, effectively removing it. And we could do the same thing for our second string, and all we would need to do is change the number here. Cool. And so now by this point, we should have the same length in each string. If it's going to be a mirror, it's going to be the same length, so we can return early if clean string 1 length is not equal to clean string 2 length, and we would return false. Now we have two options, and I'll show you both of them. One of them, and this is kind of what I naturally gravitate toward, it just feels more normal to me, is to do a for loop, because this is technically a two pointers problem. Let me change this, fix that little mistake. So I'm going to set the clean string 2 as what we're comparing against, and the clean string 1 is what we are using to compare. And you'll see what I mean in a second. So I'm going to use regular for loop. There's another way with a while loop that I'll show you after this. Let's just get this set up. Got our for loop, and now what do we want to check? We want to check, first of all, we want to start at the end of the second string in J and the beginning of the first string in I. So that means when we check clean string 1I to be not equal to clean string 2J, then that's when we're going to return false. That's when we found a mismatch. Otherwise, it'll decrement the J, so we move to the second to last character in string 2, and the for loop will increment I and move to the second character in the first string. And then we'll check against the second character and the second to last character. And then the next loop will come around if they both match, and we'll check the third to last character in the second string, third character in the first string. And it'll iterate through, and if we get all the way through this, we will return true. Hope that makes sense. Can't think of a better way, more clear way to describe this. If you don't understand it right off, just take a second and step through the code and think about it. And I'm going to start trying to think about the time complexity of these challenges because I want to get more into data structures and algorithm stuff pretty soon here on the channel. So in this case, I think we're looking at O of n time complexity because for each character in the length of one of the strings, we are comparing them, and we're just running through all of the first string and doing the same thing on the first string as we are doing for the second string. Worst case, both strings are nothing but characters, so it gets all the way through the strings. The worst case scenario, then that is going to be O of n, I think. This all looks, unless I have a little mini mistake here somewhere, hold your breath, I think. Can run the tests, and it passes. Woo! Okay. So I did mention there was another way to look at this, and it's mostly in the looping. I think we can leave the rest of cleaning up the strings and checking their length is the same. But here instead, this is probably a more common pattern when approaching a two pointers problem like this, where you might have like a left pointer. You could call it a pointer, it's a variable. We have a right variable, and the right variable is going to be the equivalent to what our j was in the previous solution. It is the variable we're keeping track of on the second string. The left variable is the position we're keeping track of on the first string. The left variable is going to be going from left to right. The right variable is going to be going from right to left as we check through the strings. And we can use a while loop. Now, what condition would we use for this? Same functionality as our for loop. We are going to iterate left while it is less than the clean string length minus 1. And equally, we can check against the clean string 1 length, clean string 2, they're the same length by this point because we checked. We made sure that they're the same length. So that part doesn't matter on which one we specify, but we are going left to right against the first string. And while we do that, we are checking right to left on the second string. That's the whole idea. That's the challenge. Our condition remains the same, right? When clean string left is not equal to clean string 2 right, then we'll return false. And I'm doing these one-line if conditions. I mean, if that's weird for you, this is effectively the same. And if this was like really dense code and there was a bunch of other stuff going on in with it somehow, this would be more clear. So that kind of comes up to preference in the situation. And now what do we do to make sure we don't have an infinite while loop here? Because right now this while loop will go on forever because we are never incrementing the left variable. So this will ensure that eventually we get to the end of that string. And equally, we want to decrement the right variable to make sure we are going right to left on the second string. Pretty simple, pretty simple. Once you sit and look at it and kind of think through it in your head, it's really doing what, 3, 4 things, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we are just modifying what we set up with 1 and 2. So if this looks like complicated code to you, that's how I would suggest that you start thinking of this as just like break it up into pieces. We have one type of operation where we prepare. We have another type of operation that we iterate. And we have a fourth operation where we have an exit condition to like actually get us our results for the function. And this I think of in my mind as part of that iterating step and the setup step. You know, it's kind of like a partial step. But just a way for you to devise breaking up parts of the code conceptually can help you be able to digest more complex looking code, I guess. Anyway, hold your breath. Hope I didn't make a silly mistake in this. Okay, there's our second little solution there. Thanks for listening to me. Thanks for watching. Appreciate your time and attention. This was String Mirror Challenge from September 23rd on FreeCodeCamp.org. I've been enjoying going through these daily coding challenges. I need a lot of practice talking as I code and kind of instructing and doing this. This is something that I'm not always very good at, but I'm going to be doing this with other sites and whatnot coming up. Maybe do some Leet Code, maybe do some, I don't know, Hacker Rank. I think companies like to use Hacker Rank website to conduct their pre-screening and their technical tests. So we could look at stuff like that. And until then, hope you have a wonderful day. Hope you get some good code written, and I will talk at you later.